Of shadows. I had always thought I knew Henry Thompson. 30 years of marriage taught me his habits, his quirks, and the rhythm of his life. He was a man of consistency, loyal, attentive, and always dependable. So when he passed unexpectedly from a heart attack at 63, I was left not only devastated, but adrift in a sea of unanswered questions. The days following his funeral were a blur. Our daughters, Emily and Sarah, stayed with me for a week, cooking meals I didn't eat, arranging flowers I barely noticed. Eventually, they returned to their own lives, leaving me alone in the big house Henry and I had shared for decades. One chilly October morning, I decided it was time to confront the daunting task of sorting through his belongings. I had been avoiding his study, the sanctum where he spent hours working or reading, but practicality overruled my reluctance. Bills needed to be settled, papers filed. As I opened the heavy oak door, the scent of his cedarwood cologne hit me like a wave. My breath caught in my throat, and for a moment I could almost hear him humming softly as he often did when he worked. Swallowing the lump in my throat, I stepped inside. I started with his desk, methodically going through each drawer. Most of it was what I expected: folders, pens, old receipts. But then, tucked beneath a stack of envelopes, I found something peculiar: a small leather-bound journal. I hesitated before opening it, my fingers trembling. Henry had always been a private man, but curiosity and a strange sense of foreboding compelled me to look inside. The first few pages were innocuous: work notes, reminders, dates of conferences. But then I turned a page and froze. June 15, dinner with Marianne and Lily. Lily's recital was breathtaking, so proud of her. Marianne? Lily? I flipped through more pages, my heartbeat quickening with each new entry. Their names appeared again and again, accompanied by affectionate comments. Marianne looked beautiful tonight, or Lily's laugh is the best sound in the world. I felt like I couldn't breathe. My Henry, my loyal, loving husband, had a life I knew nothing about. The journal was only the beginning. Determined to uncover the truth, I searched through the rest of his desk. In a hidden compartment, I found a manila folder filled with photographs. One showed Henry with a woman about my age, her auburn hair gleaming in the sunlight. Beside them was a young girl with curly hair and a radiant smile. The three of them looked like a family, a happy, complete family. I sank into Henry's leather chair, my hands clutching the photo. My mind raced, trying to make sense of it. Was Marianne his mistress? Was Lily his daughter? How long had this been going on? I found more evidence: receipts for hotel stays, letters to Marianne expressing regret and love, and even a copy of a second life insurance policy with Marianne listed as the beneficiary. The realization hit me like a punch to the stomach. Henry hadn't just betrayed me. He had built an entire life outside of ours. For hours, I sat in that chair, the weight of the truth crushing me. The man I had trusted implicitly had been living a lie. The next morning, after a sleepless night, I decided I needed answers. Among the papers, I had found an address: Marianne's. It was a modest house 2 hours away in a small town. I didn't think twice before getting in the car and driving there. The house was quaint, with a white picket fence and flower boxes on the windows. It looked so ordinary, so innocent. My hands shook as I knocked on the door. It opened to reveal the woman from the photograph. Her auburn hair was tied back, and her green eyes widened in recognition. "You're Evelyn," she said softly, her voice trembling. "And you're Marianne," I replied, my voice sharper than I intended. She nodded, stepping aside. "Please come in. I've been expecting you." Inside, the house was warm and inviting. Pictures of Henry and Lily adorned the walls, pictures that I had never seen before. I felt a fresh wave of betrayal as I took in the life he had shared with this woman and her child. Marianne led me to the living room, where we sat across from each other. She looked nervous, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. "I don't even know where to begin," I said finally, my voice trembling. "How long has this been going on?" "Nearly 20 years, she admitted. I gasped, the weight of her words nearly knocking the air out of me. 20 years. My entire life with Henry had been a lie for 2 decades. She told me how she had met Henry on a business trip. For her, he had been charming and kind, and though he had confessed that he was married, their connection had been undeniable. When she found out she was pregnant with Lily, Henry had promised to support them. "He told me he couldn't leave you," Marianne said, tears welling in her eyes. He said he loved you and your daughters, but he loved us too, in his own way. Her words felt like a dagger to my heart. I wanted to hate her, but looking at her tear-streaked face, I couldn't. She had been just as much a victim of Henry's lies as I was. As we talked, a young girl appeared in the doorway. She was about 10, with curly hair and bright eyes. My breath caught as I saw Henry in her face, the same crooked smile, the same sparkle in her eyes. "This is Lily," Marianne said, her voice soft. Lily looked at me curiously. "Are you my aunt?" she asked innocently. I didn't know how to respond. The girl had no idea of the tangled web her father had woven. She was innocent in all of this, and my heart ached for her. In the weeks that followed, I grappled with my anger and heartbreak, but amid the pain, I realized that Lily was a part of Henry, a part of the man I had loved for so many years. She was blameless in his betrayal, and so was Marianne. Slowly, I began to build a relationship with them. It wasn't easy, and it wasn't without tears, but it was the only way I could find closure. I couldn't undo Henry's choices, but I could choose to face the truth with grace. Though my trust in Henry was shattered, I learned to forgive, not for him, but for myself. In the end, I discovered a resilience I never knew I had, and I found a way to move forward, carrying both the pain and the lessons of his betrayal.